Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming, and in a matter of days, Nightreign. This spin-off version of Elden Ring has the Elden Ring tag before its name, but it's more of a roguelike version of the game. You got like a set map that shrinks and forces you to slowly face the hardest challenges, whether you're ready or not. And within that, we have 8 set classes at the launch of the game to play, each with their own skills, passives, equipment, pros and cons, and more. So today we're going to cover everything we know about each, and the fact that we expect more in the future. So let's get started. The 8 classes of the game are known as the Nightfarers. Each Nightfarer comes with 1 character skill, 1 passive, 1 ultimate art, and each of these is based on the Nightfarer that you're playing. So, of course, the Duchess can't be using the ultimate art of, say, the Guardian. On top of that, there are other details you'll want to consider. So each one has initial starting equipment with the skin of your choosing, but we will find more. There's going to be varying levels of HP, FP, and stamina per class, of course, and there will also be different relic slot options based on the class you're playing. Now, despite the many class-specific details we've just mentioned, there are a few universal details that are important to know. Firstly, the fact that all Nightfarers can use any weapon technically. There's no full restriction on that. Secondly, with all of that, we're going to start every run at level 1, no matter the class that you pick. A quick word on that then is that leveling is different in Nightreign. It's heavily simplified. Each run, known as an expedition, basically resets you, so you're always starting each run at level 1. To gain XP, you just go kill stuff, explore, the usual classic XP means. But when you're ready to level, you do it as you'd expect, at a bonfire or a grace, like normal. In this game though, you basically auto level, meaning you do not choose the stats to raise in any specific way, it just kind of does it for you, already decided by the class that you picked. For main forms of progression, those come through, say, the NPC storylines, but importantly, your relics and the setups that you set. So at the end of an expedition, you're rewarded with the relics and currency based on what you did and how you did, and we can see different examples of that here, like this polished burning scene. It provides improved dragon cult incantations and 1 extra level to faith. So that'd be great if you're a faith or dragon cult user, but not relevant if you're not. They've shown us the relic rights menu briefly to look at. This is found in the roundtable hold, the hub of the game. As you can see, the Guardian can at least slot in 3 relics from what we've been shown so far, because you have a different tab for each class and different relic slots based on that. But yeah, we're looking at the Guardian Nightfarer here. On the right then, we have the current list of available relics they found so far. The yellow relic here is the polished luminous scene, providing 1 more endurance and magic attack power up. Pretty good for a lot of classes, since all are going to benefit from a bit of endurance, and that magic attack could be relevant for a lot of us. The next example with the Grand Luminous Scene, improved Stone Digger sorcery, 1 level poise, 1 level of holy attack power. You could argue that this could be used by a caster who will also benefit from the poise, or maybe someone that doesn't care about the stone digging sorcery at all, but are using holy attacks, and again, everyone benefits from the poise. We get more specific examples as we go. This one's called the Grand Luminous Scene, providing increased duration for character skill, specifically though for the Guardian character skill. In this case, that would be the Whirlwind skill. An AoE around the Guardian dealing damage, knocking enemies back, deflecting arrows during its effect. So the relic would increase the duration of that arrow protection, and even longer time for that damage and control of the winds. There's a cool clip here showing that relic being used, meaning the CC of the group of enemies goes on for longer, giving the Recluse that time to cast a spell and blast them. So lots of relics will have universal benefits, some will have specific considerations, or even ones that only work for set Nightfarers. For other main progression then, there's the memory fragments. You'll find the fragments for your own Nightfarer, but also other Nightfarers found in the roundtable hold when you're not playing them, so you can have conversations with them. This will often provide you with side missions you might try to complete while out on the next expedition, and doing this kind of stuff, you'll find the origin of each Nightfarer and their purpose, encouraging you probably to play a variety of Nightfarers so you can progress all the stories. But while in the hub, there's also the fitting mirror. This will let you change the cosmetic appearance of your chosen Nightfarer. Using this system, we see a return of different fan favorite looks from the different games, but just consider it cosmetic fun. It's not too serious, but it does seem like what your options will be based on what Nightfarer you're looking at. So that's your universal stuff. Let's now run through everything we know as a fact for each Nightfarer and also mention what we don't know. First up, we have Wylder, which is basically the Storm Knight, generic standard knight guy. He's going to be good in general for everything, not specifically focused on anything. For him, we know that he's got a great sword and small shield to start with, and his passive is Sixth Sense. This in the network test was basically a death prevention, allowing you to ignore death at least once in your expedition. which certainly seems relevant and again great for learning the game. In the network test, this would actually reset if you used a grace. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. The skill is Claw Shot, a unique and cool grapple effect that allows you to pull enemies towards you, but also pull yourself around. Seemingly not just to targets, but around the map in general. Great for traversal. This will allow you to really close the gaps, or pull out specific enemies, ones that are pesky like a ranger or caster or something. Should be really useful. Lastly, we have the ultimate, the Onslaught Stake. This ridiculous shot from the hand crossbow that launches this massive explosion in a single big hit. It must be done like a shotgun up close. You also have protection during the animation, so you could even use it to evade a big attack by timing it correctly, which is quite exciting. Right, next up we have the Guardian, that Birdman Knight that you've seen throughout all of the footage. He is the tank, essentially, with the biggest health pool in the game, as well as other benefits like damage resistance. So if you want to be tanky, this is the guy. He comes with a halberd, but also importantly that great shield to hide behind and reduce damage. His passive is Steel Guard, which allows you to kind of hunker down using a guard effect that's noticeably stronger than a regular guard. It reminds me in Monster Hunter of, say, the Power Guard when using the lance and its huge shield. You can move around while it's active, but only minimally. For the character skill, as we discussed earlier, it is Whirlwind that causes that AoE around you of the wind that does deflect arrows, dealing ticks of damage and also slightly controlling enemies by knocking them about. Weaker enemies will be fully CC'd by this, and if you increase its duration through relics, it can be very effective. It's also one that you can charge up to make it last longer and deal more damage, which is good to know. The ultimate skill for the Guardian is the incredible Wings of Salvation, allowing you to leap up high and fly for a moment, to dive down and slam down. It actually gives you a defensive buff, and those allies that are in that circle of AoE will also benefit from it. And in the game overview trailer that they released, they said it's great for reviving your team if they're downed in a tough moment. Alright, next up we have the Ironeye, the archer or ranger type, which is going to be abusing the weaknesses of the targets. We do not know everything about this yet, we've only had recent reveals of it. So while we don't know the starting gear, you can expect that it's going to have access to different bows and arrows and ammo types because of it. We do know the passive though. Eagle Eye. Simply put, this will increase the amount of items that enemies drop, which is going to be great to have in the team. For the skill Marking, we learned more about that recently, where basically it's reducing the target's poise, making them much more susceptible to basic hits, meaning they're going to be attackable for free quite easily. And we've seen how this builds up enough stagger to get a proper knockdown and then critical hit as a follow-up. Finally, the ultimate skill is Single Shot. They describe it as a supersonic arrow that will pierce through any target. Seemingly, it just won't stop going, great for AoE, or just a really big hit with some careful positioning. Next up we have the Duchess, a Lady Maria looking character that is basically the rogue of the game, with lower health but a lot more agility to it. Starting with a dagger and in fact shield grease. You'll have 3 of these as a consumable that will boost your guarding and just damage negation for a survivability tool. Anyway, her passive is Magnificent Pose. We see this through the movement of the class, where she's, instead of rolling around, doing flips and side steps, dodging quickly, again, like she's from Bloodborne. It's a particularly good dodge that has fast speed to it and increased iframes to my understanding. Her skill though is Restage, where basically you do an attack and then repeat that attack suddenly by using this skill. The specific information on this is that you deal damage and then repeat that damage within the last few seconds on use of Restage. So in the last few seconds, you and your team have hit something really hard, you repeat that again, so the timing of that seems important. The ultimate skill is Finale though, which is essentially a stealth AoE that affects you and your allies. It's got a very cool animation, but I will be interested to see how this truly works. You get a period of stealth a pretty decent amount of time. Enemies will completely lose sight of you, allowing you to back up, heal, maybe sort out the dire situation you're in, completely evade an encounter, or set up an ambush. There certainly will be uses for it, but you'll need to use it at the right time. Alright, next up we have the recently revealed Raider, the Viking type that is built like a brick wall. We don't know a ton about the equipment that you're going to get, but I would fully expect some sort of big blunt weapon as we've seen. So if you like big weapons, this is the one for you. What we do know is that it comes with the Fighter's Resolve passive. It means that he basically isn't going to flinch when you take a minor attack from a basic enemy and leads into Retaliate. The idea that it cannot be knocked down while using its Retaliate skill. So Retaliate is basically you do this punch that's ridiculously strong and stronger if you've taken a hit during it. You basically got hyper armor during it, so you use it, intentionally take a hit, and then retaliate with this ridiculous hit. Even against a massive enemy, it builds up a massive amount of stagger. So you're essentially going to try to parry with the initial effect of this skill to get the big retaliation off. I would view it, if you played Monster Hunter, as almost like using the shoulder tackle of the Greatsword. He has quite a weird ultimate skill, Totem Stellar, which generates this big gravestone that takes up a physical space in the world, meaning you can hide behind projectiles, magic attacks, archery shots, using it as cover, and with the movement system of Nightreign allowing you to climb terrain like this, you and your allies can climb up top and get a quite clever vantage point. You could use this, as we see here, with the Ironeye to get up high and have some free shooting because the melee enemies just can't reach you. It does deal damage on summon though, and the idea is it's going to boost your allies and give you like some sort of benefit we don't know the exact value of. It does seem useful if you can be creative with it though. Alright, for the last class we know a lot about, we have the Recluse, which was playable in the network test, so we know a lot about it. So if you want to use sorcery and magic, this is the one for you. It has the highest FP count out of all the classes, and will maintain that as you level it up, but in exchange, you'll have the lowest health pool, so you gotta be careful. Anyway, it starts with a staff so that you're able to cast spells, obviously. The basic spells that we started with in the network test was the classic Pebble Shot, a quick small Glintstone hit, and Glintstone Arc, which is kind of a nice basic AoE shotgun hit. The passive is called Elemental Defense. It lets you see elemental residue, and it ties into your skill, Magic Cocktail. The idea is that your allies have elemental attributes, and so do the enemies, and you're going to collect that and turn it into something. We know from the network test that this can involve magic, fire, lightning, and holy effects, and on every fourth cast of this, it did something particularly special based on the combination of elements that you were collecting. So this could just be a damaging spell, movement as we've seen, or it could just straight up give you a buff. Examples that we saw during the network test were the summoning of wisps, fire AoE, the Bloodhound Step, which is cool, AoE freeze, during of which you encase yourself in ice. That's what we see in the footage here, becoming immune to damage. There is magic fire breath, a way to generate infinite FP, classic carry and slash attacks, and quite a few more. Thankfully, the ultimate skill for Recluse is a lot simpler. It's Soul Blood Song. You're basically just marking a target with this glyph, and those affected by that glyph, as they take damage from you or allies, you get a little bit of healing, as well as FP, which is very important. This is going to be great, like, in the mid stage of a fight, especially a boss fight, to give your allies some easy lifesteal, but also to recover your FP so you can keep casting. It does have a longer animation and not infinite range, so you will need to time it correctly. But during the network test, it did have some protection during it, so we'll see how that works out in live. Right, for the final two, we don't know a lot about them, unfortunately. Here's what we do know. This armored knight that uses a katana is the Executor, able to use their big blade in one or two hands, and has this heavy focus on parrying as a concept. It very much feels like the class inspired from Sekiro, where we have the Duchess as the Bloodborne character. So we see these clips of perfect parry timing at the last moment. In Sekiro, you are basically hitting L1, the block button, to parry right as you're about to be hit, and then you'd repeatedly do that to destroy the enemy's poise. I could expect then a system of that nature based on what they've shown us. But for the moment, they've barely shown anything other than the fact that it seems to be able to buff up its weapon in holy damage and use holy arcs for semi-ranged ability because of that. For this class though, we did just get a new character trailer, so it shows us some new stuff we've not seen before, highlighting the fact that that holy blade seems to be generated as you land those perfect parries, like the Sekiro style parry, then unleashed when charged up enough. The other absolutely insane, unexpected thing is probably the ultimate art, which turns it into a giant beast. It's been shown to do basic combos and a big slam, and one charged up attack that seems to have a holy blade that thrusts forward. People are commenting on the reveal, calling it the Crucible Wolf transformation, and I think that's probably right. Lastly, we have the Revenant, of which we know very little about. There's people saying that it's going to be one that's tying into the Spirit Ash mechanics of Elden Ring, so basically it's your summoner class, but we've not seen any direct examples. What we have seen is it's using some sort of scythe. It looks like the Halo scythe with familiar holy arcs during a brief moment. So you can of course fight directly too, but the skills and powers of this one is very much unknown, and we do think it's going to be your summoner class for the moment. In regards to the future of the game and other content that's coming, we do know that DLC is actually already confirmed and in development. What we can expect from that, we don't know, but I would strongly expect more Nightfarers to play, alongside more content like new areas to explore and new bosses and so on. It's definitely coming. But yeah, that's my overview of the classes, the Nightfarers, and basically everything we know about them and around them. I hope that was particularly informative and maybe gives you an idea of what you want to try at launch. We'll be covering all things Nightreign at launch with lots of advice and guides for you soon, so be sure to check that out. For now then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.